So I'm sure you're both aware of the 2013 effort. There was a bipartisan reform bill that was put together that ultimately went nowhere. But it's often pointed to as an example of opportunities for bipartisan reform on legal immigration. I don't know if it touched on border security or national security, but I'm curious, how has the conversation changed since then? And are you seeing any similarities from the 2013 effort in terms of policy proposals and what the Biden administration is putting out there?
Yeah, I don't know that the conversation has changed an awful lot. It may have, uh, through the Trump experience, gotten more difficult. Uh, that proposal did create a path for citizenship, and it was in many ways very progressive, and it did pass the United States Senate, but went nowhere in the House. Speaker Boehner was uh, not willing to entertain the legislation. A number of the senators that voted for that proposal are no longer in the US Senate, notably John McCain, one of the leaders, but there are a few who are still there, including Lindsey Graham, Senator Menendez from New Jersey, Senator Durbin from Illinois. So there is the possibility that it could be revived, but uh, you got to keep your fingers crossed as to whether it's actually going to happen or not.
There was a grand bargain, you might say, of some sorts, in the sense that it did deal with border security. There was actually a huge amount of money. I think it was about $40 billion that was set aside in that bill for border security, and that was the idea that you'd have increased legal immigration. You'd have a pathway to citizenship. You'd do something about people that were already here, and you would, at the same time, invest in border security. It so
The
it
grand
was
bargain never worked, though.
right. Well, it did
And
in
it
the
was a
Senate. I mean,
shame.
here's the thing: is not to be forgotten or to be lamented anyways. It got 68 votes in the Senate. I mean, by modern standards, that's just enormous. So the system worked in the Senate the way it's supposed to, with bipartisan compromises to build towards some sort of large bill to deal with a real problem. And as George said, it just got killed in the House, not because there weren't the votes to pass it, but because the speaker refused to bring it to the floor.
That's right.
Because because he thought it would pass, and there were a lot of Republicans that were against it, but not all. There were a lot of Republicans that were for it. He didn't want to split the conference. You get these rules about, well, we don't want votes where you can't get unanimous support from our side. Well, that's just nonsense. That's a terrible way to do business. In this case, we missed a huge opportunity.
Missed a big opportunity, and as a result of that grand bargain, uh, Obama still went forward and became known as the deporter in chief. He deported. A 500,000 undocumented persons living in the United States, more than any other president in history. But it still wasn't enough to satisfy the hardliners. Uh, it could be different this time. Who knows? President Biden is trying to be a healer. He's trying to be bipartisan, trying to bring sides together. He has deep ties to the United States Senate. So I suppose, anything is possible.